Hi again, everyone, and welcome to our Sweet 16 edition of Badger Breakdown, brought to you by U.S. Cellular. I'm Mike Lucas from UWBadgers.com, joined by the voice of the Badgers, Matt Lepay. And what do you think separates teams at this stage in the season, the 16 teams remaining? How have they gotten to this point?
I think it could be a few things, Mike, beyond the obvious of everybody's good right now. I think matchups can have a play in it. If in some cases there could be one guy who gets red hot, the luck factor is a part of it. I think it could be a lot of things, but you have to have talent. You have to be well coached to get to this point. But beyond that, then it's a bounce, it's a call, a no call, somebody from nowhere gets hot, or the great player gets hot. It could be any number of things.
What we saw out of Wisconsin last weekend against Oregon, over the final 5 minutes of that game, Wisconsin was the better team, the grittier team.
Yeah, what's the old line? The great ones aren't always great until you have to be. And I think, Wisconsin, they're trying to be great. Let's just say they're really, really, really good right now. And they didn't play their best basketball necessarily in Omaha, but you're right, that game was 52-all. And there's some things were lining up for Oregon. They hit a couple of threes on scramble plays, and I thought the Ducks played really well, especially on the defensive end. But it was the Badgers taking over in those final few minutes and getting some defensive plays too. But guys like Sam Decker, among others, making some big shots down the stretch.
One of the more intriguing matchups in this game could very well be Marcus Paige and Josh Gosser. Paige has been the leader, a catalyst for North Carolina, and certainly we know what Gosser has meant to the Wisconsin team.
Yeah, another game where Josh is going to have to guard somebody really, really good. And yeah, Carolina is a little different from a lot of teams in that it doesn't shoot a lot of threes. Only 22% of their field goal attempts as a team are from three-point range, but Marcus Paige has shot about half of that total. He's the guy. They have some others. Justin Jackson shot it a lot better of late. They do have some other guys who can hit big shots, but Paige is the guy who will generally be the one taking the three, but he's their catalyst in any number of ways. It's going to be another tough check for the Badgers and for Josh, obviously.
You can't focus in on just one guy. Obviously, I think Marcus is the one who kind of makes them go, the most consistent scorer, so you just got to do a good job, do what we've been doing all year. We've played a lot of good guards this year, so we understand what it takes, but it's going to take a full team effort to stop them. They're a really good team.
One of the questions of the tournament, and certainly a question for this matchup between North Carolina and Wisconsin, and it was voiced by Roy Williams during his presser, is who's going to guard Frank Kaminsky?
Yeah, my guess is they'll do what a lot of teams have done. You rotate guys on them. They maybe don't have somebody who can look them eye to eye necessarily, but you go a little smaller, you go athletic, you put double teams on them, you try to speed them up. And again, this is where you look for the other players to be able to deliver. Badgers have been able to do that more often than not, and I think any help that Frank can get along the way, again, will be very much appreciated.
One of the many storylines between the Tar Heels and the Badgers is the familiarity of three players who were teammates on the Wisconsin Playground Warriors: J.P. Tokido, Sam Decker, and Bronson Koenig.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's fun for you because Sam, got to know Joseph Young from Oregon last week. These guys, they do know each other. Marcus Paige knows Trey Jackson from summer activities on the basketball circuit. So friendly rivalry, but they're all going after the same thing. But it's kind of fun, I think, to see Tokido and Koenig and Decker together again, because I think there's a lot of respect for one another, and I think they genuinely like each other too.
Final thought: if Trey Jackson can play at all against North Carolina, what do you think he could give this team?
Well, I think there's the intangible, knowing that you have a senior out there who's been involved in a lot of big games and has made a lot of big shots in a lot of big games. And it's more depth. If they can, whatever number of minutes it would be, and it hasn't played since January 11th, so in my own mind I've tempered expectations here, but I think you look for him to be out there and just be steady. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 7, 10, whatever, just be steady. Give some relief to somebody like a Bronson Koenig. Although Bronson may have felt like he had the night off. He only played 28 minutes against Oregon. Foul trouble obviously had everything to do with that. But the boost emotionally that Trey brings, that would be big. But hopefully just some good, solid relief work so maybe Bronson doesn't have to go 35, 38 minutes.
For Matt Lepay, I'm Mike Lucas. Thanks for watching Badger Breakdown, brought to you by U.S. Cellular.